Every year, hundreds of thousands of pets are lost or stolen, leaving behind devastated families. It doesn't have to be this way. PediMark microchips store all the information you need to get your pet home safely. No need for that sometimes stressful trip to the vet. Visit PediMark.com today and a qualified microchip implanter can visit your home to microchip your pet in comfort. Quick, easy and safe. PediMark, helping your best friend get home. PediMark, proud sponsors of Pets for Life.
Hello and welcome to Pets for Life. Recent figures suggest that pet abandonment is on the rise and, as responsible pet owners, we all have a duty of care, and that encompasses all elements of animal health care. Even seemingly small issues such as providing your pet with a quiet place to sleep and rest can have a big effect on their general behaviour. A temperamental and aggressive pet can often be the result of a lack of proper care. We recently visited the Blue Cross to find out what they had to say about the medical needs of our companion animals.
I'd recommend that most animals should visit a vet at least once a year. More and more these days we're finding that we can prevent problems, or that if problems aren't addressed early then they don't become problems. You know, often it's quite frightening, I think, for people. If they notice that their pet's got a little lump, then immediately everybody's panicked and they think about cancer. But the big mistake is to leave it so long that it's then very hard to get off, and it may have spread to other sites. You know, if you notice a little lump, the time to go is when you first notice that little lump. Generally speaking, it's recommended that all vaccinations are done once a year. That varies a little bit from area to area and animal to animal, and it's particularly important that animals should have their initial course and their first booster, and then afterwards you should seek your vet's advice on how often the vaccines need to be repeated. But that's really important. We do still see preventable diseases like parvovirus that could have been prevented by vaccination, and it's really sad when an animal comes in either very sick, then we do get the odd pup that dies of parvovirus still, and that's awful. Could have been prevented so easily.
The link between diet and good health is well known. As humans, we know that a good balanced diet is vital for our well-being. The same applies to animals, and understanding the nutritional needs of our pets is of utmost importance. Farmer James Grant took us on a tour of his farm to show us the unique process of preparing a healthy diet for dogs up and down the country.
We're a family business, including my father and my brother. We farm vegetables as well as the cereals for the pet food. The plant you see in the camera at the moment is where the pet food is manufactured. It goes in as a raw material of a cereal grain together with other ingredients to make a healthy and natural a product as we possibly can.
Well, Fold Hill Foods has been making a range of foods for over 30 years now on this site. We made our reputation with dog foods, but we now make cat food. We make a range of small animal foods as well. So the complete range now.
There are health benefits in the way that we produce the food because obviously the slower cooking method retains more of the vitamins, which is obviously a benefit. And also the fact that we're using ingredients from the farm, we're using local ingredients, it's fully traceable, so we know exactly where our ingredients are coming from.
We've been farming in this particular area for 80 years. The manufacturing side, the pet food side, developed in 1979. The buildings were originally for a part of the farming operation, which was drying grass for horse and for chicken feed. They then were moved into pet food as and when that market drifted away from us, and since 1979 we've been producing pet food, particularly oven-baked pet food, which retains its natural ingredients far better than other manufacturing techniques. So we're renowned for our baked pet food, in particular our treats.
Well, the first thing to say is that baked dog biscuits have been a traditional way of feeding dogs in the UK for many, many years. Everybody knows the product, and of course it gives the dog some variety to the normal main meal. So we obviously here bake a lot of different shapes, sizes of biscuits. The jumbo bone is perhaps our biggest baked product we make. But not only baked biscuits, we also make here semi-moist treats. These are chunks of a product that are soft rather than the crunchy biscuits. These are very popular now.
Treats can bring a number of benefits for dogs, including oral hygiene ones such as rawhide, which help control the tartar and promote good breath. We also have antioxidant treats, which are good for the immune system, as well as treats that contain glucosamine and chondroitin, such as this product, which are good for the joint.
Animal behaviour can frequently be perceived as bad or naughty, but this may just be a natural enthusiasm and energy that hasn't been properly channelled. Saul James at James & Steele Limited talks us through a useful accessory that can be bought for dogs.
James & Steele are a family-run company with over 40 years' experience in the pet trade. We have come from a small family business up to an international company now, where we supply many countries around the world with only our own brand, which is My Pet. We always like to make a product which we quality control ourselves. We're a family of pet lovers and pet owners, always have been. And there's nothing that we would sell that we wouldn't use with our own pets. The canny collar was invented by someone who was working a lot with horses. They had a problem with the pulling dog. The canny collar works in a similar way to horse reins, whereas the attachment is at the back of the dog's neck. So if the dog is not pulling, there's no feedback, no message that the dog's doing anything wrong. If the dog begins to pull, this tightens on the back of the dog's collar, which just draws the muzzle gently downwards, which with an animal like that, as soon as the muzzle is drawn down, there's no more pulling. So the dog's not putting any extra strain on its body or on its neck. So it's a very kind and effective way of training a dog. As soon as they stop pulling, they get an instant message that the pressure's released, back on a normal collar, and then it's walking properly again. With the canny collar, you're actually training the dog to walk to heel, rather than just restraining the dog or giving yourself more power over a dog.
One of the advantages of a complete diet for dogs is that it is easier to control the amount fed to the dog, as you only have to feed the complete food and supply water for the complete diet. And this is one of the things that we know can help to control obesity in dogs.
Well, we need to be responsible owners, because it's like ourselves. The animal needs to have a balanced, nutritious diet of protein, carbohydrate, fat, and water intake, as well as vitamins and minerals. And it's just the same as ourselves, so it's reflected in our own sort of diet. And this can be regulated by a nutritionally balanced diet, making sure that you regulate the feeding, not giving too many treats, and also regular exercise as well.
You shouldn't feed dog scraps from the table, because human food contains a lot more calories than the specially prepared food that we make. Obviously, the food that we prepare has all the right nutritional balances required for your dog's diet, whereas the human food gives extra calories, which helps put them, will make them obese and put on weight. It's also important to absolutely separate it. If you do want to give treats, like we say, you should give prepared treats that are made especially for the dog's diet, and you should do that away from your own meal times.
We look for new products that are coming out into the marketplace, and then we help to market those within the UK and Europe using our expertise. So companies such as Fission, a fantastic new product in the US with limited to no experience within our market.
Fission is a brand new pet stain and odor remover on the market that utilizes CO2 to successfully go in, break apart proteins, kill bacteria that are in most pet stains, safe on fabrics, carpets, and other hard surfaces in your home or office. Fission's environmentally friendly formula doesn't ship any water. We give you an empty bottle with 2 tablets. You supply the water at home, keep the bottle, that way you're not constantly throwing away a plastic bottle, then you're just buying refills from that point on. Now typically in your home, pet stains, blood, food stains, and also red wine are all contained by proteins. How fission works is it goes in and actually breaks apart the proteins and allows the stain to be easily removed. You can immediately see it begin to fade away. You want to let the product sit for about 20 to 30 seconds. And then take any kind of cotton cloth. I prefer to use microfiber because it's very absorbent. Place it over the area. And then just like magic, the stain comes right up from the carpet onto the rug. And any kind of residue that's left behind, just gently blot away. Urine can be a very difficult stain, not really stain, but odor to remove. Fission is able to take the insoluble crystals that are inside of urine, which is so difficult to remove, dissolve them into solution, and then you're able to bring them completely out of your carpet. So your dog is less likely to go back to that same spot because there's nothing there for them to smell and pick up. During my trade shows, actually, when people ask me how safe it is, I literally drink the solution, spray it in my mouth. It's derived from 80% food-grade material, and the other 20% is actually pharmaceutical-grade materials. So there's nothing inside of fission that could hurt anything.
My top tips for keeping your pet healthy are definitely vaccinate your pet, get your pet microchipped, spay and neuter your pet, make sure that they have plenty of fun, exercise and stimulation, and make sure they have a healthy and complete diet.
Join us after the break to meet some of the dogs from Fold Hill Farm and to hear more from the Blue Cross.
Fold Hill Foods is a farm-produced pet food business based in rural Lincolnshire. Family-run, they have a long heritage in farming the fertile Lincolnshire land. Laughing Dog is the company's flagship brand, baked on the farm and made from a perfect balance of natural ingredients. Laughing Dog is slow oven baked to ensure goodness and taste stay locked inside. The kibbles are extra crunchy and wobbly edged, ensuring dogs eat slowly, which aids digestion.
Fission's award-winning pet stain and odour remover is earth-friendly, pet-friendly and tough on stains. Just add water to activate the supercharged cleaning power of CO2. Then spray, blot and watch Fission attack the stain and the odour-causing bacteria without the use of harsh chemicals. This unique, non-toxic tablet has the lowest carbon footprint in its category. Get Fission today at your local pet shop.
Every year, hundreds of thousands of pets are lost or stolen, leaving behind devastated families. It doesn't have to be this way. PediMark microchips store all the information you need to get your pet home safely. No need for that sometimes stressful trip to the vet. Visit PediMark.com today and a qualified microchip implanter can visit your home to microchip your pet in comfort. Quick, easy and safe. PediMark, helping your best friend get home.
Barney loved his owner. He thought his owner would always love him. Hungry, frightened, and alone, Barney is just one of thousands of animals taken in by the Blue Cross every year because nobody wants them. Will you give just £2 a month to the Blue Cross? Will you help save the life of a homeless animal like Barney? He relies on us now, but we rely on you. £2 a month can help us go on caring day after day until we find just the right home for Barney, however long it takes.
I don't think so. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Okay then.
Sorry,
we'll look at it. Okay, bye-bye.
Please help. Visit our website and give £2 a month. We're counting on your support.
Fold Hill Foods is a farm-produced pet food business based in rural Lincolnshire. Family-run, they have a long heritage in farming the fertile Lincolnshire land. Laughing Dog is the company's flagship brand, baked on the farm and made from a perfect balance of natural ingredients. Laughing Dog is slow oven baked to ensure goodness and taste stay locked inside. The kibbles are extra crunchy and wobbly edged, ensuring dogs eat slowly, which aids digestion.
Shocking statistics suggest that poor behaviour could lead to over a third of dog owners deciding to rehome their animals. It therefore comes as no surprise that around half of all dogs have never attended a puppy training class. In part 2, we'll be hearing more from Jeff Reimer, who will be discussing how best to keep a clean and hygienic home, as well as meeting the Fold Hill dogs. But firstly, we'll find out more about responsible pet ownership from the Blue Cross.
The reason why people should get pet insurance is that most of us have to budget, and most of us don't have untold disposable income. So it's so important that we plan for those unforeseen events. For the majority of animals, day to day they'll be fine, but occasionally things do happen. Animals do get chronic illnesses that will require ongoing care. Emergencies can happen, so really the insurance is there to cover those unexpected and unforeseen circumstances to ensure that you have the income available to treat that animal. The risk of not having that is that obviously your animal might not be able to access all of the treatment that's required.
It's really important that your dog or your cat is eating the correct diet. They can have dietary problems if they're not fed the correct things, or if they're fed too much or too little of certain things. They're going to have sort of imbalances within their systems. It's not going to be very good for them. We recommend really thinking about your animal's age and feeding for the correct life stage. So obviously you've got younger animals, puppies and kittens that are growing. They're going to need, you know, more nutrients and things to help them grow healthily, their bones develop. You might have an older animal, maybe the kidneys are finding things difficult, and you're going to need diets sort of low phosphorus, low protein that are much easier for the kidneys to work with and digest. So you're not giving that animal system extra work to do in its sort of later years when it's become geriatric. We also have a lot of large breed dogs that very popular now, big Mastiff type dogs. We call them large breed, and they actually need slightly different nutrients to help them because their bones are obviously going to be so much bigger. So really important that you're feeding a balanced diet appropriate for the age of the animal that you've got.
When a family gets a new pet, join the family, remember that this is for life. The pet is the same as having a small child. You have to take really good care of it, making sure that it's comfortable and happy at all times. If a dog begins to get, or cat begins to get stressed, you'll soon pick up destructive behaviour patterns. Try and find out what could be causing this. If the dog or pet is being left alone for long periods, make sure that someone can get home and look after the pet. Specific animals also have specific dietary needs. Make sure you're feeding your pet the right foods. Even within dogs, you have different breeds will suit different types of foods, maybe lamb and rice diets for certain dogs. If you get these wrong, the dog can soon become unhappy, ill. It's always best to go into a local pet store where the managers are very well trained, and they will give you all the help that you need to find out what's right. Also, amounts is important. The dog doesn't need a kilo of food a day. It's a relatively small amount of food, and overfeeding can cause issues as well in the long term.
When you're training your dog, you never want to use any sort of violence. You never want to lash out at them for messing up. You have to love them as children and care for them and understand that accidents do happen. If you raise them right, they give you unconditional love 24/7. They love it when you're home. They hate to see you leave. They constantly give you joy, which in return gives you joy in your own life. People without kids or with kids, it's just, they fill a great void in everyone's life. I think everyone should own a pet, whether it be a bird, hamster, fish, cat, dog. I think everyone should have that experience in life. It is a great experience, and I've owned dogs my entire life, and I absolutely love pets to death, which is why I'm blessed to actually be in the pet industry now.
Treats, of course, are not meant to replace main meals. Just like for humans, they're meant to be used in moderation. And of course, they can be used to help train dogs.
This is Spike, my Border Terrier. Is 3 years old. I've had him since a puppy. And it's important to start training with your dog as young as possible so that the dog learns to be polite and is basically easier to work with, easier to live with. Treats are important with training because they're used to reward good behaviour. So if a dog finds something difficult, you have to learn, because initially a dog doesn't know what's right or wrong. It'll just do what comes naturally to it. But if you reward it when it's doing something which you want it to do, it eventually connects the association with something that they really want with what the action that they've just done. Another thing with treats, they need to be highly palatable, so the dog really needs to want the treat to do the action. Also, if the dog has done something which is really good and which is probably difficult for the dog to do, it's not just a matter of giving it one treat, you will give it 2 or 3 to say, oh, that's really good, well done. Down. Down. Good boy, good boy. Spike, come on. Spike, come on. Spike. Good boy. Good boy. Come on in. Good boy. Good boy.
I think there certainly are foods that will affect a dog's behaviour. I mean, one of the biggest issues right now, probably not necessarily behaviour of the dog as such, but is obesity. It's believed that about 1 in 3 household pets is actually obese, which is sort of following what's happening with the human trend. So it's important to moderate your diet and obviously give them the prepared food rather than give them scraps from the table, which will just encourage that weight gain.
The best way to keep your dog happy is a good diet and exercise and care. But of course, if your dog does become ill, then you need to seek advice from a vet.
I have my own pet dog who's 8 years old. His name's Zach and he's an English setter. As a setter, he requires an awful lot of exercise, which is great because I have a young family, 3 children, so it encourages them to go out the house and also get some exercise as well. So it's very important from that point of view, and also the kids are great with Zach, and Zach's great with the kids. They play lots of games, which encourages them to obviously have more confidence around animals as well, and obviously he brings out a lot of love within the family.
For whatever pet you're owning, it's important to look after it properly, to realise that it isn't a short-term part of your life. It really is like an extension of your family. So it's important to treat it that way. It's important that you don't buy it on an impulse and then think that you can just move it out and say, I don't want to care for it anymore. That animal can't speak to you, but it actually is getting to know you as its owner. It likes your company just as any child or family member would do, so it feels part of the family. And so when you buy a pet, let it be part of the family today and for the future.
I think obesity is an issue with dogs. We passionately believe from Fold Hill Foods through our products that people shouldn't overfeed. The traditional meal and mixers should be fed with wet food, whether that be from a can or from cooked meat. And one of the issues we concerns us is where complete foods are used as meals and mixers. Complete foods do everything that they say. There is no need to feed anything else. Yes, treats are great for variety and to give the dog a change, but we passionately believe that completes shouldn't be fed as traditional meals and mixers.
You've got to do your research thoroughly. You've got to absolutely make sure you get the right pet that suits your lifestyle. If you're at work for a number of hours during the day, it's not really fair to have a dog at home, particularly as well as if you live in a flat. Then you can, of course, keep dogs as long as there's parks to be able to walk them in nearby. But you've got to make sure you get the right pet that suits your lifestyle. It's absolutely important to research it properly. Pets cost money in terms of keeping them fed, veterinary bills, as well as obviously time and effort. And it's only fair to the pet that you choose to get that you can give them that time and support and love that they need.
It is important when you buy a pet that actually you consider what its needs are. In other words, it's part of your family. It needs exercise. It needs correct nutrition. In other words, not overfeeding. It needs to be looked after like any family member. If you're certain in your own mind you can do that, then pet ownership is an important part of your life. If you can't do that, then the next is a distressed dog, which ultimately means probably a wandering dog and an abandoned pet. And we don't want to see that. We're here to nutritionally look after the pets, but people to show responsibility in the way they own them, and if they do purchase them, that they look after them as part of the family and continue to look after them.
Pet abandonment is largely due to two key areas of conflict. One is the financial commitment a pet can bring. Often, owners simply haven't realised the cost involved with keeping a pet. The second is behavioural problems. With adequate training, attention to a pet's diet, exercise requirements and a clear understanding of your pet's needs, pets and their owners can share a very happy and healthy life together. Join us next week on Pets for Life to find out more.